Welcome back to Farm and Hammer, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. The weather outside is wonderful today. It's the last day before it starts raining again for another week straight. A little cloudy today, but the sun does come out every few minutes. Before we get into talking about fencing, these guys have grown a lot. Right now they're rolling in the mud, staying cool. I just poured some water on them, so they're enjoying that. Today's video is mostly going to be on pig fencing. I'm also going to be moving them onto some really decent quality pasture here, so we will see how they like it. But yeah, I'm mostly going to be talking about fencing, showing you how I set this up, move it around, all of that kind of stuff, and giving you guys my review on the product. This is Premier One Pig Quick Fence, and as you guys know, I actually have two nets. I have 100-foot net there and another 100-foot net here. And they've only been in this paddock for about 2 or 3 days now, and they haven't done as much damage as I would like, but I do need to move them. I want to get them off this little paddock here before all the rain hits. So, but just to give you guys kind of an idea, this is what they were just on a couple days ago. And all of this, where this dirt was and right here, that all looked like that. There was a ton of poison hemlock and other weeds. They ate most of the other weeds. Of course, they shouldn't be eating hemlock, and they haven't been. And they really didn't do a whole lot of rooting here. Not that there's a whole lot of dirt to root in, but they did do some damage, and I was hoping they'd take down some more of this poison hemlock, but I'm pretty happy with the progress so far. So basically, all I'm going to do is take this old fence down. It's been there for a while now, and I'm going to move it over here, kind of where that bale ring is, onto that pretty good high quality pasture. And then I'm just going to show you guys how this all works and how I set it up and tear it down. So as you guys saw, it only took a couple minutes just to tear the fence down and pick it up. And honestly, it doesn't take long to set up either, but it is much easier to do, easier to keep it from getting tangled whenever you have two people doing it. Does go a little bit quicker as well. So anyway, this is going to be the new paddock here, so I'm going to get this old bale ring out of the way before I set the new fence up. So the fence is all laid out and not perfect. I just kind of throw it out as I walk and made my little corners there and met back over there. And see, this is really high quality stuff here. A lot of ladino clover and a little bit of fescue and orchard grass. But the pigs love the dandelions. I don't know why, but one of their favorites. And there is one issue with putting, well, in our area, it's any electric fence or even T-post for that matter. There's a lot of rocks here, and as you guys know, over there was just bulldozed, so there's really not a whole lot of soil to put these stakes into. But you just try a couple different spots and eventually it'll work. But that brings me to the first benefit of this fence. You're dealing with metal stakes at the bottom, so you don't have to worry about breaking them, and you can put some pressure on them to get them in and not worry about breaking them. So anyway, time to set this fence up. I will swing this last post into the middle, swing this last post in the middle, and pigs will have some nice pasture to start grazing on. So with that being said, these pigs are not very hungry right now because they were already fed this morning, but for the most part, they should move. This technically may not be how you're supposed to do it, but because I only have 2 of these 100-foot rolls, I can always plan it where there's a gate where both gates will line up, or one gate will lead into the next paddock. And so what we occasionally do is, like I said, this may not be, this probably isn't recommended, but we normally just grab this and lift it up and the pigs will walk right in. We don't have any problem with that. Now when they're bigger, it may be harder because we'll have to get the fence lifted higher, but for the most part, they seem to enjoy just walking right under. They don't pay much attention to it. And then after they're in and distracted, then I'll pull each side there into the middle, and they'll be on to new pasture. And before I let them in, I do want to shut this energizer off so I don't shock myself when I'm touching the fence. Hit the power button, it's off, and we are ready to move pigs. They know what's coming. Come on. Now what I'll do here, so I'm just going to lift this up. Said the move was just as easy as that. And they are off exploring already. So anyway, now while they're distracted and exploring their new pen and enjoying life, going in their little hut there, I'm gonna close these gates. And I'm gonna go to the old post and untie this. I do kind of have this knotted up, but they do include strings just to hold your corner posts together, which is what I do. And then they also include some support posts, which I haven't needed yet, because even though I'm pulling the fence pretty tight, there's not a whole lot of sag, as you can tell. So as the fence gets older, I'm sure it'll start to sag, and I'll start putting some support posts at the corners and maybe at the gate, but at the moment it still looks pretty good. And then to moving the Energizer, unplug it there. And before I just set it in the weeds so you guys will be able to see it, I'll leave it out here. This is just what takes the power to the fence, and hook it on there. Your ground rod is actually connected to this whole setup here. So it goes on the bottom here, slides right in, you stick it into the ground, and then connect your ground wire, and you've got a fence. Pretty portable, you can take it anywhere. Now I'm just gonna pick it up, move it, set it up by the new fence. Alright, just wiggle it into the dirt there. If you have some really rocky soils, you can take it off, pound it in with a hammer, slide all this on, but if you have some soil to stick your charger into, you're all good. I just, for the most part, just pick it up out of the ground and stick it back in. Anyway, so that is all connected. Ground rod is hooked on. All you got to do is turn the power on. And then guys, just to make sure your fence is all working correctly, they do include a tester here. And our old one was getting pretty bad, so I'm glad they did send this with it. And this is one of the ones you can just hold right up to it. Right now we're on 4,000, which isn't bad. That'll keep pigs in. It's also probably getting ground out by a lot of the grass, which that brings me to my next point. A lot of people weed eat before they put it in, but this grass isn't super thick, so I'm not too worried. If we get it moved over into some really thick fescue, that's when I'd weed eat a path just for this fence, so it didn't get grounded out so quick. But so if you guys are interested in getting pastured pigs, or you just don't want to keep pigs locked up in a little pen for their entire lives, you want to get them out in the field somewhere, I would say this pretty much solves all the pig fencing issues. Pigs and goats are about the hardest things to keep fenced in, from what I can tell. I did raise goats, and yes, they were a pain to keep in, but pigs, apparently they're also pretty difficult. And so a lot of people, they'll either run hog wire around their property, which is not cheap, and it's also not easy to maintain once it gets broken. So, or people I know, they use electric fence, which is what this is, and this electric netting works great. I know some people use one hot wire when the pigs are big, and that may be what I move to eventually. But with this netting, you can get some really young pigs we've had these guys out on pasture for what, month and a half now, 2 months. So when these guys were tiny, we were able to get them out on pasture just because this netting has small holes and it keeps in little pigs. So guys, that was kind of just my little review on this pig fencing. If you guys are interested in getting pastured pigs yourself, or maybe you just want to get some pigs out of your barn or something, this pig netting will do the trick. It works great for me. And if you guys want to check out anything else from Premier One, I know they have all sorts of animal supplies. Check out the link in the description. That'll take you to their website and you can see everything they got there. So pigs are loving it.